Good morning, gentlemen. I am smoking GLP's Odyssey, and I have brought out this morning, yes it is morning, the food of the gods, Dogfish Head's Theobroma. It's a kind of a, I guess it must be a pale ale before it's, infused with things, but it's got honey, chocolate, chilies, annatto. Food of the gods. And it's pretty tasty. Best drunk cold, I can tell you that much. I'll often drink beers that aren't cold, and this one needs to be cold, but it's delish. Wedding ring open, very nice. So today, I want to talk about blind spots and philosophy and rhetoric. Beautiful in the sunlight. So someone posted a little something on my Facebook feed. I clicked through. The picture on the Facebook feed was what got me. It was a picture of Morpheus from The Matrix. With the round shades on. What if I told you? And I couldn't read what the bottom said, but I knew the article was about St. Augustine. So I clicked over. The question Morpheus asks us is, what if I told you that without justice, governments are bands of criminals on a large scale? Which is something Augustine said in the City of God. The post was called Augustinian Morpheus, from the blog of one Colin Garbarino, with whom I am not trying to pick a fight. Although if he sees this, surely a fight will have been picked. But just because it got to me. For the blind spot it revealed. And I guess I'm just extra sensitive to blind spots now. And I'll tell you the reason for that at the end of the video. If I lose track of that, then you're welcome to say something in the comments. But, okay, so I agree with the statement. Without justice, governments are bands of criminals on a large scale. That seems to me self-evident. If someone disagrees with me, we can have that discussion. But let me read to you some or all of the posts here that was put up. And by the way, this was put up mostly as a quote. This guy is going through the City of God and posting occasional notes. So this is not some big, huge argument of his that he has put a lot of thought into. He just tossed it up there. So, for whatever that's worth. So Colin says, well, it's time to have our minds blown by the most mind-blowing of all theologians, Augustine of Hippo. In City of God 4.4, Augustine does a little political theorizing. He doesn't care much for empire. He thinks Rome lost its justice long before, which is an incredibly important point, which he loses track of after this quote. So here he quotes from City of God. Remove justice, and what are kingdoms but gangs of criminals on a large scale? What are criminal gangs but petty kingdoms? A gang is a group of men under the command of a leader, bound by a compact of association, in which the plunder is divided according to an agreed convention. If this villainy wins so many recruits from the ranks of the demoralized that it acquires territory, establishes a base, captures cities, and subdues peoples, it then openly arrogates to itself the title of kingdom. So from gang to kingdom. That's how it happens. Which is conferred on it in the eyes of the world, not by the renouncing of aggression, but by the attainment of impunity. What a fantastic quote. I agree with it wholeheartedly. And then Garbarino says, I don't know if in this section Augustine had in mind the Goths who sacked Rome. It seems likely that he did, since the sack of Rome sparked his desire to write the City of God, But even if he wasn't thinking of those Goths, he describes exactly what the Goths and other Germans did inside the Roman Empire. So, he had just talked about how Rome had lost its justice long ago. This is something that the blogger is well aware of. And really so much of the book is a polemic against Rome. Somehow, on the other side of talking about criminal gangs and their transition to kingdoms, which must have reminded him of the Germanic, the rise of the Germanic kingdoms post-Rome, somehow loses track. This is about Rome. In fact, I went back to the section that he was quoting from, and only a couple of pages earlier, Augustine makes clear that now it's time for him, in this book, in this section of the City of God, it is clear to me that I must now enter on this topic and treat especially of the growth of the Roman Empire. And then every other sentence is about the destruction and conquest that Rome extends. The immense expansion and long duration of the Roman Empire. The blood of enemies and fellow citizens under the shadow of fear and amid the terror of ruthless ambition. And it just goes on and on about Rome, about Rome, about Rome. So, it bothered me that, everyone has blind spots. So this video is not about the City of God or about Mr. Colin Garbarino. It is about blind spots, which we all flatter ourselves that we don't have, because of course we can't see them, and we're better than other people. This is something to which I myself fall victim. But some are more obvious than others, and we are ultimately responsible for having these blind spots. I'm not saying that we have to agree with all sides of an argument, for example, but I am saying that we are responsible to see all sides of an argument. And Morpheus would want us to see. And, this blind spot did bother me, especially because here he has this opportunity to talk about how empire is imperial, how empire is destructive to the soul of men, how empire is anti-Christian. And somehow he's been so inculcated with modern statism that by the time he was done with the quote, this violence made him think of chaos and petty kingdoms, only 1 or 2 degrees removed from being a gang. And the whole point Augustine is making was that Rome had achieved the ultimate gangness, the impunity. And the reason that particular blind spot is so it was frustrating to me because it seems to me pretty obvious. But recently, I have been frustrated by the plight of homeschool.